Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? Spectrum here. We're back. Sorry, haven't been active in a little bit. It's been extremely busy with work and a million other things. I will continue with the USL. I have just been so busy with a million things, and it's just work, real life, so on and so forth. So, we are going to be doing two leagues, recording wise. We are going to be doing WCBL Season 2, which I just finished my draft completely. And so there's that. I got week 2 battle and week 2 to 4 battles for USL coming up fairly soon. So stay tuned for the channel and things will be going good. So kind of going in, so we kind of started off this draft. This is WCBL Season 2. Season 1, I tried experimenting with a playstyle I wasn't comfortable with, which was stall. And I am not a stall player, so I ultimately flopped. I did not do well with the team at all. I could not do good by the team. And basically, we didn't even make playoffs. Nothing. So we're kind of going in for a little bit of redemption run this season. So we'll see how we do. I drafted basically the same rules last season, new tier changes, so on and so forth. And that's basically that. I mean, let's kind of get right into the draft here, I suppose, with enough blabbering on about life and what happened. So, pick overall, I was sixth seed in the draft. So again, snake order draft, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. So I was sixth pick overall. I was looking at quite a few things. I knew I wanted to draft around this monster right here, Volcarona. So to me, Volcarona, we needed to tier this thing as a tier 1 because with Zemus, this thing shatters the entire game. Like, this thing just shatters any team by itself, and you need Scarfers over base 100 to outspeed this thing. So, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, for example, Nada, she drafted Infernape. She's got to run Scarf Ape with Edge or Continental Crush or whatever. Basically, just to beat out my Volcarona. So, like I said, this thing's just ridiculous. It's so hard to prep for. And with the right team prep around it, it's going to be even more scarier. So, Volcarona, everybody knows what it does. It's Quiver Dance, it gets Calm Mind, Flare Blitz. I mean, it could be physical or special, mostly special though. It has Hurricane, it has Bug Buzz, Psychic, Fire moves, Bug moves. It can even be like a weird defensive set. Like, this thing is ridiculous. It has grass moves. It has a quad weakness to stealth rocks, which I can patch up fairly easily. Um, it has grass coverage. It gets roost. It gets quiver dance. It gets so much. It's too good for tier 2. There's just way too much here in this mon. So Volcarona to me was too good for tier 2. So my goal for this season for Volcarona is to get this thing into tier 1, basically. And Volcarona, just because it is my Z user as well. So that's basically the gist. I mean, Volcarona, like I said, it's too good. And I'm going to be showing you why it is too good. So, moving along here, I had to wait quite a few picks. This is a 16-man draft, so I'm over here thinking to myself, am I going to be able to get my next Mon? Because I was a little bit nervous, because this is a tier change we had that I really do not agree with. Again, something too good for the tier that it's in. Zydog. Zygarde 10%. Oh, and by the way, Volcarona's name is GG. It's Volk. This thing's name is my asshole blinks, because literally, when it's on your side of the field, you can literally just sit there and watch its asshole blink. It's weird. So, Guard Dog here, basically Zygarde, but it's this 10% form. It's a very fast, very offensive mon. Not the best defenses of 71, 85, 54 HP, but you don't really need. I'll patch up my defensive weaknesses later. With these two combined right here, so tier 2 and a tier 3. Basically, remember what I said about Volcarona's biggest weaknesses are like mons that basically can beat. It has to be a Scarf base 100 mon. Yeah, well, Zygarde doesn't care. It sets up a Dragon Dance. It can run Scarf. It has the best move in the game in 1,000 Arrows. Like, this thing is terrifying to pair with Volcarona offensively. From an offensive standpoint, these two together just are ridiculous. Basically, the whole point of this draft, I'm going to tell you, it was to draft around Volcarona. So, because I want to show you why Volcarona doesn't need the support, but when it has the support, it's broken. Zygdog, again, has base 100 attack, base 115 speed. The whole point, like I said, of the Zygdog pickup was because, again, the biggest ways to beat Volcarona are stuff like Nihilego, Scarf Nihilego. You got Infernape, you got just basically Scarf mons that outspeed Volcarona that have rock coverage can beat this thing, basically. After that, well, Zydog outspeeds basically the rest of the things that Volcarona cannot outspeed. Click 1,000 arrows or DD up, and that's it. You have that's literally it. So then at that point, Volcarona just comes in, cleans up, sets up a Quiver Dance, done. That's it. So that's why I said I value this thing. This thing's tier 3 and this thing's tier 2. That's ridiculous in my opinion, but basically these two were my first 2 picks overall. Okay. So kinda I had to wait a few odd picks here, some good things were going, and then I ultimately wanted my spinner early, which was my tier 1 Starmie. Starmie is something I've had my eye on for quite some time. I've always wanted to use it. 60 HP, 75 attack, 115 speed, 100 special attack, 85 in defenses. It's not a bad mon, right? Then you look at its abilities. It has Analytic. It has Natural Cure, so there's no really status shenanigans can go on with this thing. The coverage is ridiculous. It gets Recover, it gets Toxic, it gets Pain Split, it gets Ice Bolt Beam coverage. Psychic, water coverage. It gets Reflect type for a cool little niche. It gets my Rapid Spinner. It gets me a good Psychic type, a Trick Mon, like Tri Attack. I can just have so much in one Mon. So again, to me, Starmie is something I've had my eye on for a long time. I just never got around to drafting it. But I needed a really, really good spinner, basically. And to me, I felt my Shuriken here, from a Naruto reference, and Starmie can just really put in the work as a good spinner, good offensive mon. So I think I'm going to have a little bit of fun with Starmie here. And I'm going in order based on what I drafted, when I drafted them. So, yeah, these first 3 picks overall, offensively, they are terrifying with synergy. I got my Fire and my Water. I just need a Grass type. I got my Dragon. I'm going to get my first Steel type right now, being Cobalion. Cobalion here is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. 91 HP, 90 attack, 129 defense, 108 speed, 72 SPDF, and 90 special attack. At this point, my team was lacking rocks. Well, here's my rocker. It gives me a subset. It gives me a Sword Stance Cleaner. It gives me a Steel type. It gives me a Fighting type. It gives me so much in one mon here. With Volt Switch, with Close Combat, Sword Stance, Stealth Rock. It can be offensive. It can be defensive. Fast Taunt User. This thing just gives me so much in one mon that I just could not pass this thing off. So at this point here, I already have my 2 tier 3s being Zydog and Cobalion. So here, like I said, I'm looking really, really terrifying draft-wise. Because, again, these 4 just energize so perfectly. It gives me a Volt Switcher. So with Volt Turn going around, with Volcarona, Volt Turn into Volcarona is terrifying because you don't. Something like this could take a physical hit, Volt Switch out. go right into the Volcarona. Because then, looking at Volcarona, there's a rock weakness, right? Yeah, well, there's Cobalion for you. It doesn't care about any rock types because it quad resists. So, again, going back to the whole point of I'm drafting around Volcarona, so it's just stupid to me. This thing doesn't care about rock types, it doesn't care about physical hits. It could volt switch around and get up rocks. It could do really whatever I need it to be. Scarf sweeper, taunt user, whatever. The GOAT here, this thing is going to be the greatest of all time. So, Cobalion's going to be fun to use, and I can't wait to use it. Moving on here, I was looking around. I had to wait, again, a few picks here. I was hoping and praying this mine would fall to me, and it did. Tornadus Therian, otherwise known as Torn Anus. Ah, the puns are back. So, Torn Anus here has 79 HP, 100 attack, 110 special attack, 121 speed, 90 defense, and 90 spadef and 80 defense. Now, Tornadus here, it's basically the whole point I was looking at Tornadus is because of the fact that one, flying spam in League is terrifying. Two, it can sponge up a lot of special hits. It can beat Gengar 1v1 with its Assault Vest set. Looking at Chew, it gets so much fun coverage. It gets knockoff, it gets U-turn, superpower, sludge bomb, hurricane, obviously, psychic. It gets just so much. Heat wave, grass knot, taunt. I believe it gets. Yeah, it gets taunt. It gets tailwind. It gets toxic. It could just be a sponge. It could be an AV user. It could be a sweeper. It just gets so much. It gets all the hidden powers. This thing is terrifying coverage-wise. At this point, looking at this draft, I am sitting like $1 million right now. It could be a really... I got a lot of fun little niches I want to try with this thing. Because with the regenerator ability there, spoilers, I did not draft a second regenerator mount to pair with Torn. But to me, this thing is going to be so much fun to use. Going back to Volt Turn here, between Koba and Torn. And also looking at Volcarona again. Volcarona does not like stuff like Gengar or stuff like that, basically. And Torn, like, it just outspeeds majority of everything, knocks off, eats a hit. The thing is so bulky and so offensive at the same time. It's going to be a lot of fun to use, so... Tornadus Therian, I've never drafted this thing before until now, but I'm really excited to use my Torn Anus. So, we'll see how it goes. So, I had to wait a few more picks, and I was hoping I would get this mon. At this point, I was lacking a fairy. I was just lacking some spikes, a lot of other things. So, I ultimately decided to go with Revenge of the RNG Klefki. Klefki with Prankster. This thing is so dumb. There are so many... Basically, everybody knows what Klefki does. It's just annoying mon, basically. It gets switcheroo, so, like, I could switcheroo an Iron Ball on something like a Lottie. I could use Fairy Lock, which is a cool little move. Use something like Prevent, like, I can lock something in that when I think Klefki's about to die, and basically lock it in, go to Volcarona, set up 2 Quiver Dances on something I know is weaker, and basically then Volcarona just sweeps at that point, based on the moves I could use. So there's a few things I've been wanting to use with Klefki. There's a lot of fun little sets I can use with this thing. It gets Magic Coat, Play Rough, it gets Switcheroo, Thunder Wave, Spikes, Dual Screens. This thing just gave me so much. Oh, and by the way, kind of going back to Volk, remember how I was saying Scarf users, such as Nihilego and Infernape and stuff, are so annoying? Well, Klefki's right here, Prankster T-Wave you. Slow your ass down. Volcarona comes in and wins. Again, going back to Volcarona, how I've been drafting around this thing. So, basically, these first 6 picks here are terrifying together. Because, again, I get Stealth Rocks, I got Spikes now, I got Hazard Stack. I already have a duel. I am noticing right off the top of my head here a pretty good fire weakness between this, and Zydog's not taking hits, So I'm automatically noticing a good fire weakness. I'm hoping to patch it up a little bit. Being, my biggest thing to pretty much take fire hits is this and Zydog. So let's see. Let's see. I hope I can patch it up. That's basically that. So at this point, I had to wait a few more picks here, and I noticed a lot of defoggers were going. I got scared, so I picked up Pepe Le Pew, the Skuntank. Skuntank is something I personally have not used. I know how it works. It's a good value defogger that's not weak to stealth rocks. It has so many cool little niche sets and acid spray, haze, it gets memento, it gets jab, it gets poison dark. Poison dark is such a fun typing. So here's my dark type for pranksters. For prankster mons, it gives me my poison type for fairies. This thing is going to be all around a really, really fun mon to use. So like I said, it gets explosion, it gets acid spray. So if I want to weaken something, like I can just use this basically and just pretty much go to town here. So Skuntank to me is going to be a lot of fun to use. Like I said, I've never really used Skuntank either. It's just stuff I've been wanting to use, but I never got around to it. So like I said, it's just my good value defogger. So there's my 2 hazard control of Skuntank and Starmie, a spinner and a defogger that actually synergize really well together. So I can't wait to use this thing. So this thing's going to be fun to use, and that's basically that. Now, kind of going into this next round, I was sniped a couple times. I wanted Jellicent, but Zone took it. And then I was looking at Cofagrigus, but I needed Skuntank. I valued Skuntank more than Cofag, so I'm just like, alright. Then it was obviously taken. So, we're bringing back an old friend. I haven't used... It's been a quick minute since I've used this thing, but I can't wait to bring it back. Gourgeist. At this point, I was lacking my grass and my ghost type. The thing just fit the bill. So, going back to it, I have my Firewater Grass Core of Volcarona Starmie Gourgeist. I have my Fairy Steel Dragon Core of Cobalion, Klefki, and Zydog. I have my Fighting Psychic Dark with Skuntank, Starmie, and Koba. So I overall am in love with this. So basically, Gourgeist here, it just gave me the bulk I needed. This thing just eats. And this isn't just one Gourgeist form. No, this is all Gourgeists. So if I want to, per se, if I need a fast mon, I can use Gourgeist Small. If I want a slow fat mon, Gourgeist Super. If I want, something else, I could just use the large. So basically, with this mon, I get 4 mons in one, basically. And Jack Skellington, or Jack the Pumpkin, Mr. Jack-o'-lantern here. This thing's gonna be scary. I can't wait to use it. I know a lot of things about this Gourgeist. I have used this thing in the past to great success. And I, honest to God, can't wait to use this thing again. I missed using it. And last time I used it was Gen 6. So, welcome back, Jack, to the Hearthome Hoopas. Going into this last few rounds, we have 3 rounds left. I still need a Mega and 2 Tier 5s. The first Tier 5, I wanted this thing from the get-go. I was sitting on it for quite a while. And again, I haven't used this thing since Gen 6. Perugly. Perugly to me is something people just kind of laugh at, like, oh, it's just a cat that doesn't know anything, like, or can't really do much. You've never seen me use this thing. So, Defiant as an ability is a godly ability, basically. Looking at, like, defoggers, just abusing defoggers, basically. Getting a +2 boost, punching holes in teams, and it just gives me a really, really powerful normal type. It gives me a thick fat mod. It's not the best bulk in the world, but hey, it'll do. So I can run So many cool sets. Natural Gift, Fake Out, U-Turn, Play Rough, Knockoff, Return. Just so much. I could run like a weird stall set with Taunt Super Fang or something like that. I can run. There's just, it gets Sucker Punch, it gets Fake Out, it gets U-Turn. It just gets so much in one mon. It gives me another Volt Turn command with to pair with Tornadus and Cobalion. And it's just such a fun mon to use. I love using Perugly. It's so much fun to use. So I can't wait to bring this thing back. Good old Table Scraps returns, and let's see how well it does this season. I can't wait. Now, looking at this, I was torn between three picks here for my last tier 5 before I grabbed my Mega. My Mega I grabbed just recently, my last pick. I was between Masquerain, Ninjask, and the mon I ultimately decided on, Glaceon. So, Glaceon here is a nice type. It doesn't get really good abilities, but you don't really, to me, I'm looking at quite a few other things with Emma Frost here. Now, before I drafted this thing, I was looking at my HP stats, right? Volcarona at 85, Psydog at 54, Starmie at 60, 91 with Koba, 79 with Torn, 57 with Klefki. Skuntank being the highest of my HP stats of 103. Then you got 65 with Gorgeist, 71 with Turugly. At this point, I was looking at Glaceon, sitting there thinking to myself, this thing actually fits because believe it or not, the wishes I pass can't be fat wishes. Something like a wish pass into a Zydog with Baton Pass and whatnot, that's terrifying. Like a dry Baton Pass, this is League, so you can use dry Baton Pass. Like Baton Pass into like Starmie or Zydog, like there's just so much Glaceon can do for this team. It's really amazing. With the Wish Pass, the Icy Wind, it could be like a Cleric, it could be fast, like, not fast, it could be an offensive sweeper with ice types. I think it gets Freeze Dry. It doesn't, that's fine. It just gets so much coverage. I love this thing. I could use so many cool sets with it. I think this, I could use like a weird, I could use like a weird Baton Pass, like, again, to me, I was looking at Glaceon and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, there's not many ice types. I could use a good one, and this thing fits the bill quite comfortably at 110 defense, 95 SPDF, and 130 special attack. Again, they're not the fattest wishes in the world, but to this team, but not having high HP stats at all, those are actually pretty good good sized wishes to stuff like like I said, Zydog and all those. So to me, Glaceon, I think it's going to excel on this team quite comfortably. It has a heal bell, it has Ice Beam, it gets so much coverage. So I can't, I don't know, I'm intrigued by this thing, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to see how well I can use it. And that's basically that. Now, we have one more pick. You're probably wondering, what Mega did you pick? I ended up going with Mega Manectric. Going back to the HP stat, 70 HP. So again, a good sized wish from this thing, Glaceon, can actually really help this thing out. Mega Manectric here at 135 speed and 135 special attack with the Intimidate ability. It's ridiculous. A Volt Switch, Discharge. It's a one-trick pony, right? You know exactly what it's going to run. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Fire Coverage, a hidden power of your choosing. But it's one of those one-trick ponies that, how do you stop it? Basically, with the Intimidate, I can use this to my advantage. Because I Volt Switch out into something like Volcarona, who doesn't like physical hits, and boom. Okay, well, that's a pain in the ass, because now, how do I beat this? Again, going back to pairing things with Volcarona. It gives me my fast electric type I needed. It gives me so much in one mon. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, like I said, it's a one-trick pony, but it's one of those one-trick ponies that, how do I stop it once it's set up, basically. So, Mega Manetric to me, it's going to be a really fun mon here with 70 HP, with 135, and good bulk with 80 at peace. So basically, like I said, the whole point of this team, the whole point of me building this team. Now I know people are gonna say, "Oh, why didn't you grab Mega Diancie with it?" I didn't need Mega Diancie for this team because of the fact that I already have stuff like Klefki. I have stuff like Starmie as a spinner, Skuntank as a defogger. I have Cobalion here. I have Volturn for days with this team. I have some really cool like tech to basically beat all of Volcarona's counters. Scarf Mons. Well, if this thing goes down, then I have Prankster T-Wave in the back with Klefki. And if I can see something I can actually trap, like, for example, somebody brings Alamomola versus me, I'm not sure if it's drafted, I can't remember off the top of my head, but let's just say somebody brings Wall versus me, and I actually want to set up on it, and I know they're going to switch the minute they see Volcarona into their Scarfmon, I can use Klefki for Fairy lock it in, and basically just trap it, and then get 2 free setups, outspeed the Scarfers, and win. And with the Z moves with Volcarona, it makes it even more scarier. So, again, this draft to me is to pair around with Volcarona. It's really fun. Like, this is the stuff I like to use. Like, Mega Manetric, I've been loving. I've never drafted it, but I've been loving using it in OU. So, I think the team synergizes near perfectly, if not godlike. So, that's basically that. And thank you all for watching. I will be back here really soon with USL Week 2, 3, and 4. And also get hyped for the Hearthome Hoopas in WCBL Season 2 for the Redemption Run. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And peace.